my channel, The Transparent Homeschool. My name is Beth, and if you are new here, let me just quickly introduce myself. Like I said, my name is Beth. I homeschool 3 kiddos, and for the past couple videos, I have been kind of sharing my pregnancy journey as a mama, kind of as a whole. I went through my pregnancies and my miscarriage, and today I just want to bring you a really quick video about the update on this one here. We are almost 7 months pregnant, and so kind of the same spiel as in my other videos. I feel like right now in culture we have a very negative perspective of childbirth. You know, our TV shows, our movies have this portrayal of childbirth where the mother is in agonizing pain, screaming her head off like a crazy person, you know, and it's just like the pain is so unbearable they can't even handle it, and like the first thing that they do is they run to the epidural. Now, I'm not saying epidurals are bad. If you remember my first birth story, I actually wanted to get one, and that was just because a bunch of other things. If you're interested in hearing any of my past birth stories, I will link them down below. But basically, I was pushing by the time the anesthesiologist came into the room, and so I just told him to go away. But having done that set me up for all of my other births, knowing that I could have a natural, unmedicated birth because I had already done it, and again, because of the situation presenting itself was with Pitocin, and it just made everything worse. So when this child came around, I wanted to do things a lot differently. All of my other births took place in a different state where home births were not an option. And if you remember at the very end of my last video, I kind of gave you guys like a little heads up that this is going to be our first home birth with this child. And I'm really excited about that because ever since my second pregnancy, I have wanted to have a home birth so bad. But, again, it was not allowed in our state, and so I couldn't have had one. Anyway, so this whole thing started when I was pregnant with my second. I remember I was just, our oldest was taking a nap or something, and I was not extremely pregnant, but I was pregnant enough to where I was starting to think about birth plans and kind of how I wanted my delivery to go and everything like that. And so I just remember like searching through Netflix for some weird reason, and I found this documentary called The Business of Being Born. And in a nutshell, if you guys are interested, and I highly recommend this movie, it just completely opened my brain to things that I had never even thought about before. So again, I highly recommend that you watch that. But essentially what it was is just the introduction to the concept of hospitals have their own timeline of when a mother comes in and she's in labor, like the clock starts, and there's a timeline that the hospital has that they want you in and they want you out. You know, a hospital only has a number of beds for, you know, all of the mamas that come in, and so they don't just have the time to let your labor kind of go as it should naturally. So when you go in there, if you do not fit the specific timeline, they will kind of speed things up, even if it's unnecessary and not, again, I'm not going to say in the best interest of the mother and the baby. Their number one goal, I would assume, is to keep them safe and healthy. But I think in a close second, maybe even tied for first, is to follow the timeline of the hospital. But anyway, that's kind of like the nutshell of that movie. And I just remember looking back at my first birth, and I mean, it resonated so deeply with me, guys, because it was like, this is my birth right here. My labor stopped halfway through, and instead of trying these natural kind of like movements and positions and like, you know, all of these things that a midwife would present and the mom could try, I was immediately put on Pitocin once they kind of deemed me not, like my contractions were not starting ever again. And so they slapped me on Pitocin, and I was in the bed for the rest of my labor. And again, I am not saying that induction is not a blessing, because I think in some cases it is. But I definitely think that in most natural cases, and I think in mine as well, it was unnecessary. It was just me taking too long for their timeline. You know, there's like 1 or maybe 2 doctors, depending on the size of your hospital. We had, I think, 1 on call and then 1 that was at the hospital, just in case things got out of, hand and everything. But it was never personal. It was never like, this is my birth experience. It was the hospital is telling me what to do. And at that time, I didn't know any better. So anyway, long story short, second pregnancy, I'm watching this video, and ever since then, I've wanted a home birth, just because I feel like I would be the one in control of my birth, and there would be people there that had the knowledge and the time to let my body do what it was made to do, which is to give birth. So fast forward to now, this pregnancy, for the first couple of months, I did see a regular OBGYN just because I wasn't really sure about if a home birth was going to be good for us. My husband, I hadn't talked with him about it yet. I always had this like deep desire in my heart to have a home birth. And so I was still kind of working through that, what it would look like practically, trying to like find midwives in my area and things like that. Well, again, about 3 months into our pregnancy, I finally sat my husband down, and I laid it all out. I laid out my desires, my heart, and surprisingly, he was on board. And I think that's a really important thing, to make sure that you and partner are on the same page, just because, they're part of your birth experience too. They're not necessarily pushing baby out, but they are your support person. They are doing, whatever the midwives ask of them. And, they're an important part of the birth story too. So I just remember sitting him down. We talked about the financials, and I really wanted to make sure that he was safe, that he felt safe, like with me at home with midwives. And again, we live maybe like 7, maybe 8 minutes away from the hospital. And so I think that really kind of softened the possibility of that. But again, I was not going to go ahead with it unless he was 100% on board. Praise God that he was. And so we started kind of our journey into, meeting with midwives and kind of starting this journey of a home birth. So we had our first meeting with our midwife, and it went great. I love her. She is so great. She has an assistant, and her assistant is really nice too. And so I am fully confident that I am going to be completely safe in their hands. They have attended lots of births before, and so they're very experienced. They have a lot of knowledge about like natural remedies to things like that. I'm just really excited that this is actually like a possibility for me. One of the biggest things that kind of drew me to a home birth in the first place was the possibility of a water birth. And so I am over the moon excited to have a water birth. I am a person who just naturally gravitates toward warm water whenever I feel like sick or discomfort, or like if I have a migraine or something. I'm always in the shower, and that's kind of not like my sanctuary or my happy place, but like I can get very calm and very relaxed, and it's just soothing. And so just the idea of being in a tub of like hot water when I'm going through like surges and contractions and just the discomfort of childbirth, I'm really excited to do that. And so again, if you were watching my second birth video, they would not let me get in the jacuzzi tub at the hospital. I'm not really sure why, I don't remember, but I just remember being like, I want to get in the tub and labor in there for a while, and they were like, no, sweetie, you can't do that, I'm so sorry. But I don't remember the reason why, but I just remember being told no, and I was like, I don't like that. Just the fact that this could be a possibility for me is really exciting, and I cannot wait to birth at home. Like, I love the possibility of just having the lights off, and our due date is like right after the beginning of the new year, and so like I'm pretty sure I'm going to keep my Christmas tree up. And like I'm going to have the lights off and the Christmas tree on, and like all of our like Christmas decorations are still going to be up, and I'm so excited for that. I just think it's going to be really cozy and really welcoming. I mean, more than anything, I cannot wait to meet our baby, obviously. The medical system treats you like you are sick, and pregnancy is not a sickness. Like labor and birth is not a sickness. It is a natural occurrence that women's bodies were made to do. And so that's just kind of like, again, with like the whole like timeline of theirs, like our bodies know what we're doing. And so to let them kind of labor on their own and just go through the natural phases of labor, I feel is very important. It's really important to me after having 3 hospital births. Like, they were positive experiences. I loved, the staff, and I thought they were really great, and the nurses were just amazing. But again, it was not ever my own. I was really excited to have this possibility. The midwives come to my house for our prenatal appointments, and the kids are able to be part of that. I mean, it's a really, really wonderful thing to be able to have a home birth, and I am truly, truly blessed to be able to partake in that. That's really the update for this pregnancy. Again, this is our 5th pregnancy. I'm almost 7 months pregnant, and so I'm getting to the end, not close enough to where I can start, wishing things away, but we're starting to prepare, and I'm going to do a whole nother video about kind of what I am doing to prepare, like, my mind and my body and things like that. So watch out for that video. And then also I am going to be doing a monthly update, kind of how I'm feeling. And so again, at 7 months almost right now, there's going to be really only like 3 more. Then I'll do a birth vlog. And so if you guys are interested in those, watch out for that, because that's going to be coming. But again, just kind of wrap up all of this, I really think it's important to surround ourselves with positive pregnancy stories, because that's the only way that we're going to change our perspective. That's the only way as a culture that we are going to start showing women that birth can be beautiful, and it can be maybe not pain-free, but you can learn techniques to help you manage the contractions really well, and that it is a beautiful experience. And I do believe you can have a beautiful experience in the hospital. I just think you have to know your rights, you have to know the knowledge, and you have to be willing to stand up, and you have to have like a support team around you to also stand up when things are not what you want. And so, again, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video really soon. Bye!